So today's the day I get to start putting this thing back together. Just need to start out with a massive thank you to Reuben, my brother-in-law. He's done another amazing painting job for me. So Reuben did the sandblasting and painting on Big Chief. Gosh, must be nearly 10 years ago now when I restored that, and he's just gone just as far above and beyond with what he's done for me on this job. So I just can't thank you enough, Rubes. Yeah, everything's sandblasted and painted immaculately, like right back to bare metal. This is brand new. This is just far better than I was expecting. It's just, you know, everything is absolutely perfect. So we even went as far as googling and finding the original paint code and paint color, and had that mixed. So it's really bright and vibrant, compared to the piece of the machine that I didn't get painted. I didn't get the gearboxes done. That's faded away a little bit, but it's going to be hidden underneath most of this new stuff. So yeah, so we got brand new paint. It's just, I'm over the moon wrapped with it. So it's been a little while, but it's well worth the wait, that's for sure. So while I was waiting for this to get done, I did some more work on the little motor. So I'll just move the tripod over there and I'll talk to you about what I did there. And I'm not going to bore you with putting this back together. I'll just show you what I've done, talk about what I've done, and then I'll get it back together and show you at the end. Okay, so our little Briggs & Stratton engine, had it running in that video earlier on, and it was running quite rough and rugged. So since then I've taken everything back off the side cover, a flywheel, and adjusted that points gap down, got that a bit better. And when I was putting a few things back on, I did notice the carburetor was loose. So I had the air cleaner off and one of the screws into the carburetor there, yeah, it was loose. I hadn't tightened it, so maybe that contributed to it running rough. I haven't started it again since then. The other step that I took care of was the fuel tank itself. So I had little leaks from around the seams underneath, and little leaks in the actual seam of the tank itself, and out from around the bolts in the top here. So what I did was bought just grab the box to show you, bought a sealer kit. So this is the kit here, available online, was only $100. This is a regular kit. It'll do up to a 20 litre tank for a motorcycle, so you can get bigger kits for doing car tanks. And it's an internal liner. So 3-step process was to clean the inside of the tank with aqua cleanse, then use a rust blast. It's like an acid stuff, put that in, swirl it around. It's very time consuming. And then the internal liner itself is like an epoxy type paint. It's only a single part that you pour into the tank, swirl that all around the inside to get a nice even coating, drain out the excess. Now it took 96 hours, and it's been longer than that. I set a timer on my phone for the 96, but yeah, so I should have a really well lined fuel tank now with no leaks. I made a couple of little gaskets for around these bolts underneath, just so if any fuel does come up, it'll get whipped into those gaskets and seal off even better. Big thank you at this stage of the project to SES Direct. So SES Direct in Invercargill, they're a parts supplier for all sorts of unusual stuff. They, you know, just your mainstream everything that you need. But when I've been looking for the unusual stuff, they're the ones to go to. So they've helped me out with the basically all of the parts that I needed for the internals of this, the piston rings, the oil seals, all of that stuff when I did the rebuild. Just lately I was trying to get a new fuel tap, because the tap under this one was quite tight and seized, and I didn't think I was going to get it to seal. So I've been in touch with them. They've been out of their way trying to search and find one for me, but the only thing they could come up with was something slightly aftermarket that we'd have to modify the internals. So in the meantime I kept working this one, and I've managed to free it up and make a little T-handle to go under there. But a massive thank you, big, you know, just the best customer service you could ask for from those guys at SES Direct. So yeah, that's our motor ready to go. So we'll get that put back on the machine once I get the rest of it together, and I'll just show you what I've got on this side of the table next. So a lot of replacement hardware here. I thought about reusing a lot of the old mounting bolts for things like the cover and the guard and stuff like that, and but then with that paint being as new and as shiny and as perfect as it is, I thought oddball, ugly, sort of slightly rusted or repainted bolt heads would look funny. So for the main parts of the machine that are all going to be visible, handlebars, I think these mount the actual machine, can't remember what those are for, mounting the frame, no, those mount the frame to the machine, these mount the overhead guard onto the frame. These are for the pivoting assembly for the handle that goes up and down, so even a brand new spring. So again, a little plug for a place in Whakatane here called Bay Engineering Supplies, also known as Trade Zone. So in Whakatane, again, amazing customer service, couldn't ask for better. They just went out of their way to find all of the proper threads, so these are all UNC stuff. I could have gone metric, but I just went with the original. I wanted to stay true with this thing. So some of the bolts that I couldn't get and that I'm not going to be reusing, one was this threaded rod for the pivot, but that's still okay. Once that's on, I've got some touch-up paint from Reuben's, and I'll paint the ends of those, I think, orange, so they blend in and disappear. The big main bolt for the handlebars, and this has an adjuster that screws onto that end. Got new washers to go in it though, and just painted the end of that up silver. That has the old captive thing. It's probably a washer that's been cut at captive around the bolt, and then these go into the handlebar itself and stop the bolt from turning when you do the handle up on the other end. This was the little adjuster, so that's just been painted up as well, the same as the motor, black, and that goes on the end of the belt tensioner when that pulls up and down. The original pulley, I might see how it runs with this. It looks really oddball. You can see the hole looks off center, but it's not, so it's probably an oddball casting, and then the pulley's been machined sometime somehow that the hole looks off center, but it's not. It runs true. So got the belt as well for that pulley, and when I got those oil seals, this came from the same place, the belt, the axle seals. So again, big thank you to Bay Bearings, a guy named Gary. Gary at Bay Bearings, he was just awesome, went out of his way searching for things. I think I talked about him in the other video, trying his best to find the right oil seals, and we ended up getting some slightly bigger ones to modify, but yeah, Gary's knowledge and Gary's ability to find stuff for me was pretty cool. So anyways, that's about all I've got to say for now. A couple of split pins and washers, they go on the end of those pivot rods and the draw rods. When it comes to the wheels, I've still got 2 wheels to remake and do the rubber treading on, to jewel them up, so I'll get those done as well. I'm not sure if I'll do them before I put this video out, or if I'll just do them later and put them on after. Probably be good to get them done by the end of this video, but we'll see how we go for time. The bolts for those, yeah, I have gone metric with these unfortunately, but it is what it is. So I've got little, what do we call these, capped nuts, and these are chromed, so when I put these on those new wheels, they're going to stand out really shiny and look really smart. So I think that'll be a nice little touch. So this machine is just going to look absolutely amazing when it's done, so stick with us for the end of this video. I'm not going to video any of the assembly whatsoever, I'm just going to chuck it all together. Couple of cool things that I will show you that I've got for this when it comes to reassembly is the diagram. So yeah, online managed to find parts diagrams, assembly diagrams, part numbers, you name it, for this Howard machine. So yeah, that's going to be quite a good little reference to make sure I'm getting everything back how it should be and back where it should be. And the second part of it as well is the other Bullfinch that I've got from Uncle Clive with the Clinton engine on it. So the main basic parts of the machine are identical, other than, you know, that modified pull handle for the belt tensioner. So yeah, that's where we're at. Let's chuck it together and get on with it. Cool. Okay, so I've got the first 2 pieces put back on this thing. It's just the tines so far with new washers and castellated bolts, split pins through them to hold them on secure. So yeah, a bit of a battle. Had some overspray down the inside of the splines. Had to clean that off with a bit of paint stripper and sandpaper and a little grinder, die grinder, to take some burrs off the steel and knock them back on. So the next bit is going to be the big guard over the top. Oh no, sorry, I have to do the frame first. The big frame that goes across the front holds the motor on, so that'll go next, then the guard on the back. Right, keep working. Okay, here's the next little update. Next couple of bits are done. I've got this back guard on over the top, the main part of the frame. So as you can see, there's not much of the actual bit that I didn't paint. The gearbox underneath it's even going to be seen, so I'm sort of pleased with that. Quite happy by the time the motor goes on the belt and the handlebars. Next step is putting the handlebars on, handlebars and the little pivot bracket for the motor. I want to fit that pivot bracket up first, and because I've got to strip a little bit of paint away under here. I tried putting this, gosh, I've got to come back so you guys can see. So this is the lever that goes onto here, and the little roller wheel goes up on the top or through the middle here, and the lever pulls from the top. But that shaft there, yeah, it's quite sticky, so I'm just going to strip the paint off that. Strip a bit of the paint down here just with a razor blade, and then put that on. That gets a washer and a split pin. So yeah, right, I'm going to put the handlebars on, then spin it around and do that bit. Okay, here we are, end of my day one assembly. So the motor plate and everything's on, got the handlebars on with the new handle grips, so they work out quite cool. I'm sort of thinking I might need to put something in here just to protect the paint from the swivel, and also something, maybe a little bit of a clear plastic tube or something around the shaft for when this pulls up and down. Last thing I've got to do with this, I'm going to wait until the motor's on, is just set the little adjuster down here. So kind of a little cam wheel under here, and when the when this lever pulls up, it rolls that wheel underneath, pulls that motor plate up, and tensions the belt onto the pulleys down here. So there have been spaces between the motor or the engine, yeah, and that plate in the past. I'm going to put them back in just to set it up, and I'll see what it does. But they may have been put in because no one knew how to figure out this adjustment, so I'm not really sure. I'll have a play. I'd rather not have the spaces there, because it, you know, go back to the original, and the I'm pretty sure the exploded view diagrams don't show spaces. They also show which way around this this little plate is supposed to go, so I'm referring back to that later on tonight. And then we'll come back down, have another go tomorrow, get the motor on, maybe give it a start, and then start doing the rubber for the other two wheels. So I wanted to wait until the wheels were back before I did the rubber on them, get them the right size, and I'm going to do my best to try and line the treads up as well, so that I have them matching. You know, the dual wheels will have the matching tread right next to each other, rather than having, you know, offset or out of line. So I'm going to give that a go and get it as best as I can. But yeah, she's looking really good. I love those little handlebar grips. Another business that I needed to thank was NZ Rubber and Foam. Yeah, they provided the rubber. They were super duper awesome, good service as well, just like everywhere else I've found that I've talked about, giving me the right advice for the grades of rubber to use for these wheels. So huge thanks to them. But yeah, she's looking really good. I like the nice shiny silver nuts and bolts. This bit looks really cool down in here. The adjustment for that leg, having those shiny bolts and new spring. I've done the handlebars up as tight as I can. I've got a little paint touch up to do down in here. I've set them to the right height and then just done that nut up, because what I found was this adjuster handle, unless they're set up really high, when you try and wind this handle, it comes down and hits the wheel. So I had to get it as tight as I could up about here. You can see the scratch mark, and then lower it down and do the last half a turn there. So yeah, she's really good. New washers, new bolts, new split pins through things. So these ones here get covered up when the other dual wheels go over the top, and they'll have those nice little chrome nuts covering the bolts, the ends of the bolts. Yeah, right, okay, that's it for now. Come back down and do some more in the morning, and we'll add to the video then. So I've got our motor, engine mounted back on here now. Did this the other night. I had to take a couple of days break. Had some pretty horrendous bad weather going on around here, and it's pretty miserable coming and working down in the shed. having to work with the doors closed and lights on and heaters going and stuff. So yeah, just sort of did some other stuff and stayed out of here. But engine's back on its mounting plate, the belt tension's working good, got all of that set up, so on to treading these last two wheels so we can get them put on. I did just fit one up before and just had it sitting on there loose with the bolts to see what it'll look like. It looks really good, so on to doing the tyre tread and then we'll get them put on. And just like that, she's finished. Those wheels really set it off, eh? Having those little chromed dome nuts on there, that's really neat. So yeah, nice shiny nuts and bolts in all the places I said we were going to use them. Those wheels, so you can see the join and the tread on those, but when I have it on display I can just park that to the bottom. Managed to get the grooves lined up so that they're, you know, symmetrical or in line across here on both sides. So that's just a little attention to detail thing from me, I guess. Bit of OCD coming through. Done a few little paint touch-ups here and there that needed it. I've just had it running, just started it and ran it for a few minutes, but I'm not going to do that again just yet. I'm going to give it a few minutes to cool down and then give my dad a ring. Since this was his, get him to come around and have a look. I'll give it a bit of a dust down and a wipe and see if Dad wants to come around today or tomorrow and have a look, and I'll take it out on the driveway and maybe the sun will be shining tomorrow, I don't know, get some nice photos to put at the end of this video. But yeah, stick around for a few more minutes in this video and you'll see it running. Cool as. There's a little bit of a threat of some rain on the way. We had nice blue skies this morning, but Dad's just been around for a visit and seen this thing running, so while I've got it out, took those photos and yeah, had it started, had it running for my dad, and I'm just gonna yeah, give it another start now, film it, just yeah, run it up there a little bit, up the driveway. So hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much for sticking around and watching the end of this video. Yeah, it's been a good project, so I'll make another one soon about the two of these bullfinches together, this one and the other one from Uncle Clive, because found some interesting stuff out about them, got some cool diagrams, yeah, dates, ages, that sort of stuff, the differences in these models. So right, let's start it.